Howdy. Well, I've mentioned this a few times, but I haven't really gone in depth into what it is and why I have it and how I got it and stuff like that. What you're looking at is a Luger. The Luger is I think it's a pretty well documented pistol, and there have been dozens and dozens of videos done about these things. But this one is in fair shape. It's not even in great shape. It's in fair shape. But many years ago, I really, really, really wanted a Luger. Back about 30 or 40 years ago, I kept seeing them on TV shows and movies and would read about them in books. And I thought, that is just the most ergonomic, cool-looking pistol I've ever seen. Gotta have one. Well, back then, and we're talking, in the 1970s, these things cost about $100 or so. And this was at a time when you could get a Smith & Wesson 38 for something like $50. And I thought, this is just ridiculously high priced. And it's an old one, and it's hard to get the cartridge for it and everything. Well, time went on, and the price on these kept going up and up and up and up and up, and it became almost impossible to find one. Well, I found a lot of books on them. Here's two very good books that I have on the subject. This is the P08, the Luger pistol, and I think it's more of an art book than anything else. And this is a collectible book on it, catalog. And I got this one through, what's Tom's site called? Collectibles. Legacy Collectibles, I think it's called. He's a guy who collects Lugers and Walthers and other German pistols from World War II and earlier. And he has some tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollar pistols in his collection of goodies. And he knows more about these things than any other person alive today. Well, nowadays. If you ever want a good book on the Luger, may I suggest the book by Dr. Jeffrey Sturgis and Hakim Gertz is his name. And it's just called The Borchardt and Luger Pistols. It's a 3-volume set, and the current one is 3 volumes, plus CDs, plus a picture book that goes with it in a case. It's absolutely gorgeous. It also costs more than I paid for this pistol. It costs over $1,000. It's also the ultimate book on the Luger. Jeffrey Sturgis was a noted collector of firearms. He recently passed, but he was the authority, the ultimate authority on Lugers, and a lot of other things, but on Lugers in particular. Anyway, this one in particular, I was wandering by a small gun shop in a town very near me, and I walked in and said hi to the gun dealer who I knew, old gentleman who's well known in town, and he's just recognized as one of the merchants in town and one of the respected members of the community. Until the ATF went after him for paperwork, dotting I's and crossing T's in the right place, and he said to heck with it, turned in his FFL license, and just went out of business. He's retired now, which is a damn shame because it was one of the best little gun stores here in town. But anyway, back then in the case, he had this. And I saw that and I went, I can't wait any longer. I went home and looked at my finances and said, I just can't afford it. And then I thought, well, I do have those. And I went and opened up my gun safe, and I opened up a box, and I looked at them, and I said, I've held you for years. You're not doing me any good here. So I took a Krugerrand down to a local dealer and cashed it in. Then I went over to the gun store and I bought this. $950 for that thing. And what you're looking at is a commercial Luger. This is not a P08. This is not a Parabellum. Originally, the Luger was chambered in this. This is called 30 caliber Luger. The only military pistol ever chambered in this was the Lugers that DWM, or what became DWM, sold to the Swiss. They used this round. But after World War I, the Germans were required to only sell civilian Lugers, not wartime Lugers. And the ones that they had that had been turned in as wartime Lugers, many of them were refurbished and marked for export only and sold off to other countries. America got a lot of them. America was a big buyer of a lot of German material after the war. And, the capitalists over in Germany, they were in the middle of the Weimar, the early days of the Depression, and they didn't care. We'll sell to anybody. Matter of fact, this one is marked made in Germany, and it's marked in English. And usually that denoted a commercial one that was sold to the German from Germany to the American market. It's marked DWM, Deutsches Waffen und Munitionsfabriken. That's what that stands for. Well, anyway, I looked up the serial number of this thing in this book, because this book has every Luger made, it seems, by serial number. Let me find it. It was on page 130-something, as I recall. Yeah, there it is. This is a 1920 commercial Luger, specifically built for the American market in 1920. And it's in 30 Luger. This is not in 9mm Parabellum. I would rather have a 9mm Parabellum one, but this one is in about fair condition. I mean, the bluing has been rubbed off considerably on here. The straw color is gone off of the trigger, and here and here. The grips have been worn down considerably, so the checkering barely shows on them. This is the magazine that came with it. I later bought another magazine. By the way, this came from India. This is a facsimile Luger holster. But I've got a Luger loading tool in it and an extra loaded magazine. And this looks exactly like a traditional Luger magazine, including the wooden follower on or wooden grippy thingy. But this is not an actual DWM made magazine. I don't think it was even made in Germany, but it was cheap. I got it from a dealer, and it fits in that holster, and it holds bullets, and it actually works. This is the original, and it has an aluminum floor plate, and it does have a serial number on it, but it's mismatched to this pistol. All the numbers on here, except the magazine, match it, though. So that's kind of cool. So it would be nice if I had the original magazine to go with it, but alas, that is not likely to happen. Anyway, I'd love to have. Well, I wanted an artillery one. They had several different sizes. There was the artillery Luger, the Navy Luger. There was the original. There was a Luger that was made as a carbine at one point. They had all kinds. They had the Luger stock magazine or stock holster. It has these things on it for holding a slip-on stock. Very few stocks were made, but every Luger, it seemed, had that little attachment point. Anyway, my screed on Lugers. It's an interesting pistol. It really is one of the ones that got me into gun collecting at a very, very early age. And it's just kind of cool. Oh, come on.